Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and welcome back to the SITREP. So you probably have known, if you have been following DPA very closely, that I originally didn't want to continue the SITREP anymore because of algorithm issues with YouTube. But it vexed me non-stop because I'm a person who values the information, in details, specific information, and I find that not reporting the SITREP just doesn't feel right, and I feel like it is not also very tenable because the new form, the war summary, has a lot more production put into it. It takes a lot more time to build it, to build that video out, because we have the transitions, videos, and everything putting in. While that will continue, I feel like the SITREP still has to be done in as the basis for everything else. And people do not want to watch the SITREP. It's not my problem. I feel like this still has to be done. There are people like you who are who are interested in the specific of the information, the sources and everything, in full details. Not just the superficial that you probably will find in most other YouTube channels. And I feel like I just don't feel right to just stop the SITREP entirely and just doing the superficial ones. So the SITREP will be back, and there will be this disclaimer. This disclaimer will be there to make sure that that you are superficial if you don't watch the SITREP. But yeah, so that is the plan now. Because ultimately, it is not tenable to just do that one video, and yeah, there's a lot of things that's untenable. I have already complained to YouTube, but so that's that. And so because this is a technical video, as I have mentioned in the disclaimer, if you probably have read it, I just want to highlight SITREP's military reports. The situation report is meant to be detailed. It's meant to be boring sometimes. So which is why in the beginning there was I cracked some jokes because I just cannot take it anymore because it was too boring. And yeah, the jokes then become part of the character of what DPA's reports are. But it was never meant to be like this. It was never designed to be humorous, but it just turned out to be like this because I myself cannot take it. But this is just how the information have to be transmitted, because that's the only way that you can get the full information. And so I would like to continue the SITREP, just that I will still do the war summary, but finishing the SITREP allows me to be less time sensitive in terms of the war summary, because to do these war summaries with added videos and everything just take more time. So that's all for the introduction of the return of the SITREP. And so this is the SITREP. So this is the report. This is the SITREP for the day of 550 to 551 for the 27th to 28th of August. And as usual, for those that do not know, you can actually access this map with all the sources and everything just by becoming a DPA officer. DPA officer can be is $10 per month, $10 per month in Patreon, Coffee, and Boosty. So anyway, going into the report, there is a few information because this is for 2 days. What happened yesterday is that I already finished the mapping, but I was just too depressed to do any recording, because I cannot get over how to actually do all these things in a sensible way that I can feel comfortable. And I was so uncomfortable to the point where I just decided to go to sleep, and I just have no mood to do anything, and I was just going through some form of like a depression kind of thing. So yeah, after having a very long and good sleep, I wake up today and kind of make this decision. And in yesterday's report, we can also so there is information about Prigozhin's plane crash, and the investigation have tested their DNA, which is quite fast if you ask me. And they have established the identity of all the people who have died in that plane crash over in SITREP. And officially, according to the Russian government, Prigozhin has now passed away, has died. This goes for all the other Wagner related people like Utskin, and all the poor people who are unrelated to Wagner, like the pilot, the the air stewardess and all this, they are all the identity is now confirmed. They are all dead. So that's all. So there is a Ukrainian drone strike reported at Kursk airport. I believe it's the Kursk airport because they did not mention. They only say Kursk region. But they say airfield in Kursk. Most likely is the Kursk airport. You know, over here, and the drone strike allegedly hit 4 Sukhoi 30 and 1 MiG-29. And among other targets are also S-300 and 2 Pantsir. This is reported by Dnipro OC, the pro-Ukrainian source. Of course, the pro-Russians say that this did not happen. But the number of drones is 16 drones, so it's likely to be possible. And that's all from the drone strike. The Russians also strikes the Ukrainians. The Russian missile strike the Puchuki airfield. So Puchuki is here. Pinchuki. And they did this strike with more expensive weapon, long range airborne high precision missiles, cruise missiles against Pinchuki. And unknown what was hit, but this is actually a very small airfield. It's just an airstrip of salt. So yeah, it does shows that the Ukrainians are using all sort of air bases, airfields, airstrips to conduct their air operations, so that they keep moving the stuff around, and the Russians will not be able to take out the Ukrainian Air Force. And we're moving to the into the Black Sea. There is another missile strike. This time, this missile strike is on the Snake Island, the Zemeny Island. The Russian Air Force bombed the island. Allegedly, is some special forces that was located on the island. This, according to what I have read on some pro-Russian sources, they say that due to the Russians intercepting the drones and aircraft from the NATO side, this forced the Ukrainians to actually have to operate deeper within the deep sea area. And one of this area is actually the Snake Island, where the Ukrainians have an outpost there to conduct the operations, and this is why it become a target. So the Eustace Island seems to have some use. The Ukrainians are using it for some purposes in terms of doing their missile strikes or drone strikes against the Crimea as well as the Black Sea Fleet. At the southern front, Ukrainians continue their amphibious operation, and this time around, if you have been following DPA, you will probably know that this amphibious landing is extremely frequent nowadays. Usually we only have this thing like once a week, or once every 2 weeks. Suddenly we are having this on a daily basis. This again, another amphibious operation has been reported by pro-Russian source Ryba, and this is landing south of Kizumis in some of these islands around here. So we move on to, so that's all from the southern front. We move into the Zaporizhia front. So this is the Zaporizhia front. At the Zaporizhia front, over at the Orekhiv sector, this sector over here, at the Orekhiv sector, the Ukrainians continue their offensive over in this region here. Main operations mainly is in the Robotine. There's fighting reported at Robotine from the 27 to 28. Russian Defense Ministry, Ryba, has been reporting this, and Myroshnikov also mentioned about fighting in the area of Robotine. And this is actually very interesting because Myroshnikov, the pro-Ukrainian source, actually mentioned about Ukrainians fighting in the area of Novoprokopivka, which is actually just south of here. This is Novoprokopivka. But the thing is that if the fighting is around here in the area of Robotine, then it's unlikely to be over here in the area of Novoprokopivka. In certain mappings, they are trying to do this offensive, make this thing looks really advanced. So far, there is no clear indication that this is actually true. There are even on the pro-Ukrainian side, I just discovered a new Ukrainian channel, Telegram channel, a new source with 100,000 followers in that Telegram channel, pro-Ukrainian, shared by Resident. Resident UA, another pro-Ukrainian Telegram channel that has been following as a secondary source. Even in their mapping, they also seems to be a bit more conservative. So I just want to highlight, as you probably have would have noticed by now, for those that have been following pro-Ukrainian Twitter, pro-Ukrainian Twitter has been super bullish. They are talking about, like, already entering Prokopivka, maybe the front line is around here, and they are talking about, they are going to fan out and everything. Clearly, this has not happened. Most reliable mapping is that at most the Ukrainians have secured the entire Robotine, with the Russians still holding in the southern part. And there is some kind of a salient around here, with the Ukrainians managed to push this way. We did confirm this with geolocation around this position. So this is at the most reliable front line that we know of. So anything that mentions beyond that, talking about Ukrainians entering Prokopivka, this is all fake news. And if you are following any Twitter accounts that saying that, I highly suggest you to just unfollow. Like, stop duping yourself, because all you got to do is go on the comments to argue with people that you don't like, and you are just going to get smashed, because 2 weeks from now probably the front line will still be the same place. Just as this situation about Ukrainians entering Prokopivka has already been 1 week, and we have no clear indications that the Ukrainians are there. So you can see on the 25th we have this information from Surya Maps, claiming that the capture of Prokopivka is not correct. And of course, these reports come on the 24th. So this is coming to 1 week. So I highly suggest you to clean up the information diet. Don't believe just everyone, or just because they have a lot of followers. So far, what I've noticed is that there are some channels on Twitter or whatnot with a lot of followers, but they're just talking crap all the time, just like some YouTube channels. So so the fighting is still continue to be reported on the 27th to be south of Robotine, in the area of Prokopivka. However, in Myroshnikov's latest information, he kind of backtracked to talk about area of Robotine. So Myroshnikov has kind of backtracked in that sense that now the fighting is in this area here. What we do know is that there is counter-attack, and this Russian counter-offensive over the Robotine has been mentioned here and there. And so the Russians are currently conducting a major counter-attack, and to keep the battle around the southern part of Robotine. And we have also geolocation of Ukrainian forces by Dnipro Osin, of Russian firing the flamethrower system at the Ukrainian forces over here. We also did have some around the same area of Ukrainian forces doing rotation. So any Ukrainians did not have a firm foothold within Robotine in a sense. So they can enter, they can put themselves into the houses. You can enter the houses, but then you will just die after that. So for those that are pro-Ukrainian, I'm not saying that this is pro-Russian propaganda. This is not. This is the reality on the ground. You have to understand, so that you do not get over excited about all these things. Fighting is over in the eastern part of Robotine. This continues, reported by Deep State UA. They continue to say fighting continues east of Robotine, without clear indication where exactly this east is. We do have some fighting reported, according to Ryba, about Ukrainian forces arriving west of Verbove. So this is Verbove, and the Ukrainians are arriving on the western part. Clearly, they have not broke through this heavy entrenchment just yet, the major line of defense. However, we still have continued fighting being reported towards Verbove, according to Myroshnikov. The Russian Defense Ministry, Ryba, everyone is talking about the same thing, that the Ukrainians 1st Battalion, 82nd Airborne, all have been trying to break through towards Verbove. They always been information about tactical success or some success or whatever, some progress, some developments, but there is no clear indication the Ukrainians actually just broke into Verbove vicinity. This is not true. I don't think they have broke through the main line of defense just yet, and I'm sure that if they do, there will be footages showing that's the case. So tentatively, that's not the case. The Russian Defense Ministry on the 27th also make a very interesting, they say fighting reported at Uspenovka. So again, I'm not exactly sure what did they mean by around the area of Uspenovka. So my guess is that they are attacking in this direction, in this area here, trying to open up the more buffer zones. And this area also is marked by the destruction of 2 Ukrainian Sukhoi-25 on the 27th at Novodanilivka as well as at Mala Tomashka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So what is the significance of these reports of the Ukrainian shootdowns is that the Ukrainians are throwing their air force at the front line. They are putting everything they can to try to break through. So we haven't seen Ukrainian shootdowns of aircraft for some time already. So to suddenly see them again might suggest the intensity of the war that is happening. It's not that the Ukrainian air force is failing or what. Clearly they might be successful because they haven't been shot down for some time, but it just shows that the intensity of the war over in this area here is getting very fierce. Over at Novoporovka, just southeast of Malotomashka, Novoporovka, there is a geolocation by Dnipro-Osin, the pro-Ukrainian source, showing that the Russian artillery is shelling just on the outer area of the settlement, and which means the Ukrainians are currently storming the town. They're just entering and they got shelled by the Russian artillery. So this shows that the fighting has arrived at Novoporovka. According to Dnipro-Osin, they say that this fighting over here has been a long time. However, I do not agree with their assessment because there is literally no proof that there was fighting over at this area for a long time. Like literally no one's talked about it, not even them. So this is definitely just a projection, because there was fighting mentioned about in this area here, but that was a long time ago. And you see on the 13th of August, this is a long time ago, so not true. It's not true. But this geolocation that shows that the Ukrainians are starting to try to push out in multiple directions, and we shall continue to monitor how this goes over at the Orikhiv sector. We move on to the other sector. There is something else. Further up north, at the Zalivne, which is in this small little forsaken town. Nobody will remember about this name in due time. There's a Ukrainian Mi-8 getting shot down. This shot down by Russian Air Force. So usually when you see the shot down is this far away, usually it's by the Russian fighter jets that is shooting them down. Further nearer is usually by the surface-to-air missiles. So this Mi-8 is a bit unlucky. They got shot down pretty far away. The distance from the front line is around 30 kilometers plus. So tough luck for them, for the pilot as well. And over on this is the Zaporizhia front, over at this sector, the Velika Novosilka sector. At the Velika Novosilka sector, this is Velika Novosilka. The Ukrainian forces also continue to be fighting around this area here. Main fighting is at Uruzaine and Staromayoske, as well as over at Prione, over this region here. At Prione region, the fighting is being reported at Prione from the 26th to 27th, mainly on the 27th. And this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. They say that they thwarted an Ukrainian attack. The Russians reported that on the 27th that they also have struck at the Ukrainian forces over in this area here, near Prione. So there could be a possibility that the Ukrainians have a massive force over this area here, and they were attacking. They got stopped, and the Russians continued to strike them in their form-up zones or whatever, just north of Prione. So fighting is still ongoing. There is geolocation of Ukrainian forces over at this area north of Levatne, according to Dnipro-Osin. It is a demining system, American 1M58. So the Ukrainians are still slowly trying to consolidate their positions because there are a lot of mines that in the front lines region. So yeah, they need to demine this area here. Over at Staromayoske, the Ukrainians are conducting an offensive on the 27th to the 28th. This is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. So it could be a case where the Ukraine. So of course, the Russian Defense Ministry do not say much. What I can project is most likely that the Ukrainians are trying to fan out and secure a bigger buffer zone around the village. So this is most likely what's happening. Over at Uruzaine, the Russian Defense Ministry reported that they are attacking Ukrainians recon forces close to Uruzaine. and there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces within Urzani itself. This is actually a video of Ukrainian forces getting bombed by Russian Air Force. So that shows that the Ukrainians are here, and they are conducting operations around here. We are not clear where the front line exactly is around this area. Most likely is still around this area that we have already mapped. However, we still continue to have Myroshnikov, the pro-Ukrainian source, talking about Starolimnivka. They talk about Starolimnivka. They say that the Ukrainians are continuing in the areas of Starolimnivka, while at the same time on the 28th, they also say that fighting is near Starolimnivka. We, however, have no clear indications of Ukrainians actually broke through in any way. We did not see any of this kind of breakthrough in anywhere. So this information have to be taken with a pinch of salt. We do have geolocation of Russian forces at this position east of Starolimnivka. This is a Russian position that got struck by cluster munitions of the Ukrainians. So this just shows that at least the Russians are definitely still around this area here. But to be shelled means that the Ukrainians are not even here. They are probably further behind. So tentatively, we are definitely not looking at any breakthrough just yet. There is fighting over at Novodonetsk. This is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry, and we are now into the Donetsk front. And the Russian Defense Ministry said that they did some fire mission on Ukrainian forces in the area of Novodonetsk. It's unclear where is the fire mission. Here, or here, or here. No, we have no idea. So just have to take it with a pinch of salt. And continuing the Donetsk front, we move on to Marinka. At Marinka, we have the Ukrainian Defense Ministry continue to report about fighting at Marinka, with the Russians continue their offensive actions in Marinka region. And the Myroshnikov also mentioned about heavy fighting. Traditionally, as I also agree, this is like a tradition. If they don't fight at Marinka, it's like not breeding. So Ukrainian Defense Ministry continued their report up to 28. This has been consistent. The Russians continue their attacking. So nothing special about this thing. We move into the Avdiivka front. This is the Avdiivka front. In the Avdiivka front. So at the Avdiivka front, some interesting development. We have fighting reported at Nevelsky. The Russian Defense Ministry and Myroshnikov both Myroshnikov simply said fighting, but the Russian Defense Ministry said that the Ukrainians are attacking over at the Nevelsky region, and the Deep State UA mentioned about Russians actually counter-attacking, trying to retake lost positions. So not sure what is the situation, but there is fighting in this area here at Nevelsky. At Pervomaisky, this name suddenly popped up lately, and Russian Defense Ministry said that the Ukrainians are attacking at Pervomaisky. Same thing. This is the same exact report as Nevelsky. So the Ukrainians are probably pushing at Pervomaisky as well. I'm very impressed with how many places the Ukrainians can attack at one time. There must be some kind of huge manpower reserve that they currently have that allows them to do all these things. Doesn't mean that they have a lot of tanks. It's not about heavy equipment, because a lot of these attacks are all infantry based, so they can attack in a lot of places as long as they have enough bullets and rifles. There is interesting information about fighting near Spartak, according to Myroshnikov. Spartak is over here. So he says some fighting around this area here of Spartak. I'm not sure. Just take it with a pinch of salt. The information is on the 27th. They did not mention about this on the 28th. So no, you can totally just ignore this for now. And in the northern part of Avdiivka city, there is fighting reported at Krasnohorivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry on their 28th of August report. And there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces on this tree line by Deep State UA. So the appearance of Ukrainian forces at these tree lines means that the Ukrainian forces have some improvement in terms of their tactical positions. They have managed to attack and retake this position. Previously, it was taken by the Russians. Now the Russians probably have been pushed back to the town itself at Krasnohorivka. And other than that, we do not have any other information in terms of the Avdiivka front. And so for those that are still watching right now, it's only fair to ask you to press the subscribe button, because with more subscription, then I can reach more people. So do press the like button as well. And and also the regulars, do you miss the SITREP? Let me know what you think. Do you really like this format? Because this format is absolutely unique. I know no one does this on YouTube, because this is a lot of work. So do let me know what you think, because yeah, personally I prefer this kind of reporting, but I know some people just prefer the just draw arrows everywhere, and and yeah, without showing the sources. So we move into the Bakhmut front. So this is Bakhmut city, and this is the Bakhmut front. And the Bakhmut front, in the southern part of Bakhmut front, we have fighting reported at Kodyomivka. According to Myroshnikov and Deep State UA, fighting is reported on the 27th to the 28th, with the Ukrainians continue to be storming Kodyomivka. So far, we still have not have any indications that the Ukrainians have entered Kodyomivka just yet. We have no geolocations of anything to show that. Similar situation also at Andriivka. Deep State UA has been reporting of Ukrainians having partial success in near Andriivka. However, we do not know what they mean by partial, and where is their success, So take that with a pinch of salt. And over at Klishchiivka, the main dish in the southern part of Bakhmut, we have fighting reported at Klishchiivka on the 27th to 28th, reported by Myroshnikov, Deep State UA. Both are pro-Ukrainian, Braiba, as well as by the Russian Defense Ministry. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry said that the Russians are conducting offensive operations on the 27th, and on the 28th, Myroshnikov said that the Russians are conducting massive assault. So yeah, or maybe I read it wrong. So massive assault might be referring to only Kupiansk. There's a full stop here. So I read it wrong. So there is fighting reported at Klishchiivka. So let's see how this goes. That's very vague. We do not know who is the one attacking. And yeah, so that's all from the Bakhmut front. We move into the Siversk front. There is nothing at the Siversk front. And we move into the Crimea front. So this is Crimea. At the Crimea front, we have fighting reported within the Serebryansky forestry. There is fighting. This report from the 27th to 28th, according to the Russian Defense Ministry and then by Ryba, they said that the Ukrainians are launching attacks within the forest. And we have also fighting reported near south of Kuzmine, according to the Russian Defense Ministry on the 28th of August report. On the 27th of August report, the Russian Defense Ministry mentioned about fighting near Dibrova. And then Toske itself, we see fighting reported on the 27th to the 28th by the Russian Defense Ministry's Center Group of Forces and Ryba. So if you look at this situation, it shows that the Ukrainians are still conducting their offensive operations at Crimea, and the front line totally didn't change. So this is a very ill-fated offensive thus far. We have been reporting this of Ukrainian attempts, at attacking. Similarly, for the Russians, they are also attacking, but the front line never changes. So moving on into the Sviatove front, this is the Sviatove front. At the Sviatove front, fighting continues to be reported at Novoyehorivka on the 27th and on the 28th. By the 28th, Deep State UA say that the Russians are the one doing the offensive. On the 27th, it's both sides. So we do not have much information, except that the Ukrainians say that the Russians find it a bit hard to cross the river. I think there's a river somewhere around here. The Zerabets River. So to reinforce Novoyehorivka, the Russians' reinforcement is not easy. But let's see how this goes. And on the northern part of the Sviatove front, the Ukrainians continue their attack against Novoselivsky. The report is by the Russian Defense Ministry on the 27th and on the 28th. Again, we do not have much to report about because there's no detailed information. So that's all from the Sviatove front. We move into the Kupiansk front. This is Kupiansk. At the Kupiansk front, this is the Kupiansk front. We have continuation of the Russian offensive operations in their Kupiansk offensive, fighting in the area of Sinkivka and towards Petropavlivka. Reports by Deep State UA on the 27th and Myroshnikov on the 28th about fighting near Sinkivka, as well as the fighting in the area of Petropavlovka by the Miroshnikov. We do not have any more reports from the pro-Russian side about this. So the Russian Defense Ministry, they did say that they are still conducting their Kupiansk offensive, but they did not reveal much about their offensive operation. They only talk about Ukrainians counter-attacking over in the area of Sinkivka on the 27th to the 28th of August. So the Russian Defense Ministry only say that they are still conducting an offensive operation in the Kupiansk region, and that's it. That's all they say. So which is why that information cannot be mapped, because I have no idea where they are talking about. But so Miroshnikov have a very vague information as well. They simply said that the Russians are attacking in the Kupiansk region as well, continue massive assaults. So yeah, so we have to assume that the Russians are continuing their attack in this area here. And that's it from the Kupiansk front, and that's it for everything. This is the summary for the this is a SITREP for the day of 550 for the 551. Basically, it's also a summary, you know. SITREP is a form of summary for the day of 27 to 28 of August. Again, do press the like button, subscribe, and also let me know in the comments what you think about SITREPs. Because I personally feel like, you know, this is how the war should be reported. I will continue to report for those that are more casual viewers, because this is very technical. This is very detailed, and most people do not need this level of detail. But I feel like I owe it to the people that has been following DPA for all this time, and you guys have been following me for this kind of report, and I feel like this kind of report should continue, because this is the proper way of reporting, and I feel like this is the way should go. So I want this to continue, but I will still do the superficial one. I mean, the more easily consumable one, as a separate video. And those videos, just want to talk more about these war summaries. The war summaries will not be covering all the fronts, because it is just not it doesn't work that way. Because what's the point of war summaries, of what all these more produced videos, is that you want to have maximum retention, have maximum reach. And if you cover things that are less interesting, people start to drop off, they don't watch. So, and that will defeat the purpose of putting so much production value into the video. So this video is going to be very specific to certain fronts that have more interest, and that's what these videos will be. It's going to be akin to quick updates. The reason why there is no quick updates nowadays is purely because of how the algorithm works. It's a bit hard to find a good place to publish the video. So I just gonna do it as war summaries. I put in more footages. I will try to come up with a workflow so that it can make the entire production faster. And so hopefully that will help to grow the channel and make it better, and get more views, and hopefully introduce more people into the SITREP. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.